Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup. Today, we are having a fairly standard, although possibly a little shorter show. We have privacy, security, AI, business, and SillyVille. We'll see what kind of fun shenanigans are going on in the world. Of course, these shows are recorded live Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you'd like to catch the show live, or hey, just continue watching the edited down versions. That's okay as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right on into the news. And first up from The Guardian, there is this is my child is at camp and my phone pings nonstop with photos. Does anyone really want this? So she's addressing this, and we've covered these apps before where many camps and daycares and things, they have these high-tech services now where you drop off your kid, and of course you have to sign the little form to approve their pictures, and then you have to download the app, and then you can always check in on the cameras and see how your kids are doing, and they'll send you pictures and things like that. On one hand, this is pretty good in the sense that it does provide the accountability. This is one of those factors in education. I think that cell phones in school harms education. However, I hear and understand and even agree with in many ways the argument that suggests that there are teachers that do malfeasance inside of their schools as they're supposed to be teaching, and cell phones are sometimes the only reason we know any of these things happen. And so a good compromise might be, I'm not talking internet, I'm talking locally. Every classroom be recorded, the teacher end at least. Every classroom be recorded. All of that data is stored locally in the school and it wouldn't be too difficult to get enough data to say for one full year. That way, if a student goes home and says, you wouldn't believe what went on in Mr. Smith's class today, blah, 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 they can go in and make the request and say, we need to see what happened in Mr. Smith's class in third period. That provides accountability, safety, privacy, because it's only stored on the school premises, and accountability. It solves all of the problems. That way, Mr. Smith won't be going crazy because, there's a camera. You say, well, with the privacy of our students. They have less privacy now with everybody having a smartphone in their classroom anyway. So that's not really part of the issue. There are things to solve this. These apps that we're talking about in this one, though, takes it a step further because they are interfacing with a big tech company. All of your children's photos are being stored with the big tech company. Now, this person addresses first, it was more like the notifications were insane. By just an hour later, there was 10 photos. 45 minutes later, there's 10 photos that she can look around. And by the end of the day, she'd received like 100 or so notifications with photos of children from where he was at. And so that's what the person is getting to. But she gets down to the bottom with really talking about privacy. And what was really cool, one of the quotes down at the bottom of the article was, we are in this world where instead of kids saying, hey, mommy, look here it is down here. Hey, mommy, look at me. They're not saying that anymore. They're saying, hey, mommy, take my picture. Now, it's one thing, too, if you're taking your phone and you're snapping a picture and you're keeping that picture personally and locally. But most people are now uploading those to social media. They are producing this giant online persona of their children before their children even know the positive and or negative ramifications of being on the internet. And so these types of services, particularly if we are forced to agree. So if you take your child to a daycare and there's only, let's say, 4 daycares in your town and all 4 of them are using the same service and you are a privacy-minded person, you say, I don't really want to sign this thing. Like, well, we can't guarantee we won't get their photo in here. So you have to agree that your kid's photo is going to take it up. Well, you can say it's one thing to say, well, we have choice, but do we really have choice if everybody's using the same service? That's a good question. In fact, I left a comment on a very similar thread on Some Ordinary Gamer's video from today where he's talking about he's concerned about the state of the internet in the future. And he was talking, it's about 11:45 was the timestamp in the video. And he was addressing the fact that that's a difference between showing your ID to access PH on the internet versus showing your ID at a club. And I'm not sure if he has seen patron scan or ID. I think it's called Check ID or something. But these are two of the big tech companies that are being prolific in bars, clubs, nightclubs, things like that, where you have to prove you're over 18, where instead of you handing your ID to the bouncer that he checks your ID, as he was saying in that video, now they're not even doing that. They're just taking your ID and scanning it through the system, and it causes the same problem. You're taking all that data and sending it out into somebody else's cloud, and then what are they doing with it? Who are they hiring to secure that data? They're probably doing everything they can with that data to make as much money. They're blacklisting you from everybody that's using that particular service, blah, blah, blah. And so we are getting to this world where we have way too much stuff online and not enough stuff anywhere else. And so that was really the ultimate question about this story is, are we pushing way too quickly to have our kids on internet lives? And we need to do something to push back and say, I don't want my kids' pictures in here. And if I don't consent to it, no, you have to be the one excessively careful to make sure my child's picture does not get in that company database. And if my child does get in that company database, there has got to be serious consequences for that organization, because we have got to get to the world where you think twice before signing into Facebook and pushing the button to send all of your phone's contacts to Facebook. I didn't consent to you sending my phone number to Facebook, but if you just happen to pick up my business card and put it in your phone and upload your contacts to Facebook, now Facebook knows my name and my contact information, not because I give it to them, but because you were an idiot and didn't think about the consequences of other people's privacy. We have to get into a world where these types of things can happen. Let's move on to our next one. So Android will soon instantly log you into your apps on new devices. This is, to me, the big concern here is the same thing we're seeing with Microsoft storing your security keys on their drive. Of course, in Windows 10 and Windows 11, they're trying to force you to have a Microsoft account. They're trying to force you to use Windows Hello. They're trying to force you to encrypt your drive, even on the home editions. And then they're storing your decryption keys in the cloud. So this means if there's some unjust warrant at your house and they seize things, and you're like, it's my Fifth Amendment right, I don't have to give you my password. You're welcome to try and figure it out. Well, they just go to Microsoft, hey, we need the keys to this computer. Gotcha. Here you go. They have all that kind of stuff. Well, Android is now rolling out a similar feature, not just for your Android or Google account, but for all of your apps. So any app that you required to authenticate into, what they're going to do is now there's a component that the developer has to use the service. So on the old device here on the left, the new devices here on the right, you have an app, and then the developer creates a restore key for the user. So the developer's the one who keeps this, and the key is saved locally. So the developer adds a component into the app to allow an Android restore key. Now, if the user backs up the app data, the restore key gets uploaded to the cloud. So if you back up your phone data, now Google has access to your phone app data, which basically means now that Google has access to the phone app data, they are now likewise able to hand that data over to someone who might show up with a heavy hand to ask for such data. That could even be a scammer, like we talked about last week. Hey, wouldn't that be great? A scammer's puts forth a fake request to get all of your application keys, maybe the security keys to your computer. Oh, wouldn't that be great? So now that the restore key is in the cloud and you restore your backup to a new device, the restore key will get in there. So now you don't have to get the new device, and sure, your pictures and contacts and text messages might come over in the new device. But now the apps will automatically install and automatically log in because the restore keys to re-log into those apps is now stored in the cloud. So you can choose not to use it. The developer can choose not to use it. You can do what you can to keep it out of the cloud. But the fact is that it's going to be in there and most people aren't going to know. And then your restore keys are back up in the cloud, allowing anybody to effectively clone your phone and get into everything that you need if your Google account happens to be compromised, which we know that happens from time to time. So that is quite exciting. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. And with that, let's move on over to security news. And first up in security news, we have a free AI editor. Of course, AI is taking over and everyone wants to be like, oh, I want to use the latest AI. So there is now some AI editors which are taking out ads, putting up websites, trying to get you to use their service, and they're not actually AI editors. Well, at least not entirely. They are actually information stealing campaigns. So you would get out there. Of course, you receive this amazing emoji-filled nonsense, either post or email or whatever else. Big news! Big news! On September 1st, we're giving away 50 lifetime licenses to our AI editor. And then here's a video and a camera and then all these other emojis. Like when I see this level emoji, I think vomit, I think MLM crazy person, and I think child or scammer. So legitimately, if I see a post with this many emojis in it, there's not a one of those I want to interact with. So delete. Oh, sorry about that. But this ended up being here's before, or here's the original and here's the after. So apparently the AI makes you a picture of you like looking like a tramp, I guess. I don't know. So it is of course fake. If you download one of these things, you get the Get Now. You'll download the information stealer and infect their devices. The file is called Edit Pro AI Setup Newest Release.exe for Windows and Edit Pro AI V436 DMG for Mac. It is available through a malware as a service model where cybercriminals pay other cybercriminals for access to malicious software and its related infrastructure. So there you go. Don't be downloading your free AI editors anytime soon. You might find yourself in trouble. On to our second article here in security. This is a GitHub breach that is seeking to frame a researcher. Very interesting. So, of course, this is an attempt, or maybe, I don't know if an attempt or if a failed attempt or maybe a bad attempt at poisoning a supply chain software with code which is trying to tie back to a legitimate white hat hacker. And so this person here, this is ExoLabs warning everybody about innocent looking code change submitted to the repository. The pull request titled Clarify MLX Requirement for DeepSeek Models attempted to modify models.py Python file in Exo's code base by adding a sequence of numbers to it. They have a picture there, but this is actually the what it was doing. So the Unicode numbers each represent the character. Effectively, it was translating into a web URL, which is going to a website here. Now, the user that attempted to do this and the website they were attempting to go to is supposedly of this evil Dojo 666. However, Evil Dojo 666 is actually a real person, and what he says and what independent researchers have suggested is that this is somebody attempting to sabotage his reputation. So this is Mike Bell, goes by Dark Mage at Evil Dojo 666. So he says, if you're looking for clarity about the GitHub backdoor attempts November 12th, someone is impersonating me. Impersonator mad I'm not giving them attention. I am sorry others are being dragged into it, taking a few hours off work, off to work on my game again. Okay. So he's basically saying it wasn't me, and other people who looked into this said, yeah, this legitimately is not him because anybody can go into GitHub and create the account, and that's really what happened here. And so the same person presumably went in and targeted several other GitHub projects, basically trying to put things in. Now, the challenge of this is that even if the guy's trying to be a little bit more obvious to smear somebody's reputation, if somebody doesn't audit the code well enough, ends up committing these, they are putting legitimate malware into a supply chain. And this is a fundamental problem. So, is there a better solution to this? I don't know. Maybe when somebody creates a GitHub account and then tries to edit your project within the first couple of hours, maybe say, I don't think so, Bubba. So, I don't know. What do you know? Let me know what your thoughts on that are. And let's have a look over at AI news next. couple AI articles from the TechCrunch. The first is Marissa Mayer just laid out a possible business model for ad-supported AI chatbots. Oh, God. The good news is this isn't, hey, Google, how do I keep my my cheese on my pizza? And the bot's not going to sell you Elmer's. That's the good news. The bad news is it might be worse, as what the ultimate principle here is that the ad companies would be intentionally feeding information it has about you to the AI companies in order for the AI company to make a better decision to titillate your senses to engage in consumerism. So Marissa Mayer, this is a person, she's had a lot of big tech jobs. She had an instrumental role in the early days of Google search, spent several years as Yahoo's CEO. Maybe we shouldn't be listening to her as much as this article says. Maybe we should listen to her. Was she the CEO under Yahoo when they were breached every other day? If so, I'm not sure we should listen to her. She's now creating her own company called Sunshine, which is creating apps to do things like share photos among groups more efficiently, clean up your contacts, and remember your friends' birthdays, because, yeah, we need AI to do that. If you need a computer to remember your friends' birthdays, maybe you should take more priority on your friends. Just a thought. Anyway, while none of these apps have taken off yet, Mayer's background makes it worth considering her opinion, at least as it comes to online advertising. Unless her opinion of online advertising is it needs to go away, I don't care what her opinion is. Call me one-sided, but whatever. So she was at a conference and she's asked about AI tools and changing expectations. And this is what she says. Advertisers will be compelled to turn over more data than ever before in order to give consumers the most precise and detailed answers possible. See, she's already an idiot. She's approaching this to say, consumers really, really, really want micro-targeted advertisements, so much so that we are just going to sell. And it's getting to the point where we cannot get on the internet without everybody and their brother giving us 155,000 ads per minute. Her assumption itself is wrong. Her assumption sitting here and saying, you know what? We need to figure out a way to have better advertising. We need to figure out a way to target consumers better for what they want to buy. No, you feckless moron. You need to leave. I don't care what you have to say. All right. Here is a cited example. Are you ready? One of the classic examples we used to talk about was how ads make search better was concert tickets. When people search for concert tickets, the fact is there's an advertiser there that has tickets to sell you. They're willing to pay to be in your search results is actually a sign of quality, but it's where the searcher is actually happy. They don't want these articles about the concert. They actually want tickets to purchase. So there's a nice meet of expectations on both sides. Okay, well, that part sounds, okay, good. So in the area of AI, she says they want to see exactly where the seats are available and what stadium and what is the pricing. They want the information synthesized much in the same way they see it synthesized in generative AI. So I think it means the advertisers are going to have to partner even more closely with Google and other search engines in order to allow their wares to be really showcased and synthesized with the answer. So in other words, she wants them to hand more data over so that handing over more data, the advertiser can advertise to you more effectively. Where is the option to say, I want to live an ad-free life? Now, the reality is I personally live a fairly ad-free life. Most ads I see are on billboards as I'm passing by on the side of the road. I don't see ads in the content. I don't watch streaming services that give me ads. I don't watch content that give me ads. I have ads blocked on the root level on all of my phones and on my network. I don't see ads. And you know what? I don't want to buy crap either. So that is kind of dangerous. Unfortunately, Brave, they want to embrace the AI even more. So Brave Search now adds an AI chat follow-up questions after your initial query. So if AI did not destroy our search engines enough the first time around, now they're going to come in and destroy it even further. You cannot search for anything on the internet anymore. The internet is dead. The internet, we are not, like, the dead internet theory is real. It's here now. And it took only 2 years after AI was unleashed on us. Only 2 years ago, AI was unleashed. Since then, every single search engine, even the beloved Google, had precipitously horrible results now. Every downstream search engine from that, like Startpage, has horrible results. Microsoft has horrible results, therefore Bing has horrible results. Brave is cramming so much AI in every single corner, I cannot even stand to look at that crap anymore. Now they want to do more. Let's double down. Let's put more crap on. Brave announced on Thursday it's introducing an AI chat mode for follow-up questions based on your initial search. Earlier this year, the company launched Answer with AI summaries that appear in the search results after you query to give you an easy-to-read answer in response to a question. Now, the Answer with AI summaries will include a chat bar that allows you to ask follow-up questions regarding your initial query. No, not interested. I don't want your crap either, you know? Here's their example. You go to Brave and search for Christopher Nolan films. You'll get an AI-generated summary that gives you an overview of who Christopher Nolan is and will list some of the notable films. Starting today, you will now see a chat bar under them that reads Ask a Follow-Up Question. So you could ask which actors appear the most. If you do not know which actors appear the most in a Christopher Nolan film, Michael Caine, Christian Bale? You don't know that answer. You have problems. Or you just don't follow Christopher Nolan. I mean, I don't even follow Christopher Nolan, and I know the answer to that question. All right. Okay. So once you ask the questions, you'll enter a chat experience. Oh, it's another experience on the internet. That's all we need. Another experience on the internet. I am sick of experiences on the internet. I don't want an experience. I want to get what I need and go, and your AI is destroying it. I don't want an experience on the web. I want the answer to my question, and AI is not giving it to me. Oh boy. For instance, search engines are good at fetching images, links, and information, while AI chatbots are great for exploring topics through related questions based on context. Now, bringing these two new features together. Hey, Brave, where's the button to turn this crap off? Lord, help us. We are going to be handed over to our AI robots, as we are actually going to see in SillyVille. The end is nigh, folks. The end is nigh. But before the end is nigh, if you want to hear more about dark tales in tech, have a look at my book, Code Red. This is available anywhere you can buy a book online, ebook, audiobook, and print book in softcover format. TLM.li/Code Red will get you a list of links, although just check your favorite online bookstore. You can pick it up anywhere. This is 10 short stories looking at the potential dark side of embracing everything inside of technology, something that we need to look at further as we get into this world where they're constantly telling us things. It's a funny thing I'm reading about in the book by the old Google CEO, Eric Schmidt, with his the book The New Digital Age. He's like, well, we're writing this from the optimistic perspective. Well, that's beautiful. You're writing from the optimistic perspective, but the human heart is sinful by nature. Okay? And these companies want to push these technologies on us, assuming the best, while the human nature tends to want to move towards the worst. Now, I'm not a pessimist at all. I am, however, a realist. And Code Red gives you 10 technologies based on real stories, real policies, real things that were actually happened in the last couple of years, showing you the potential downsides. So have a look at Code Red. You can pick it up on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere else you can buy books online, 3 different formats. TLM.li/Code Red. And with that, let's move on over into business news next. First up in business news, I got to remember because TechCrunch has this new thing where the titles are really small to see. All right, so this is Apple Pay, Cash App, PayPal, and other apps to be treated more like banks. This is a ruling from the CFPB. This organization is actually one of those few government bureaus I have found actually worked well. I actually was having an issue with a bank at one point in time, and I tried the best I could to work with them, and ultimately they were just being complete jerks about it. I contacted the CFPB, and the bank was begging me for forgiveness. It was very fascinating. I was like, wait, a government agency did something that worked? Believe it or not, this one, this is the one that I think is good. I think it was Obama era. I think Obama's administration set it up. So very fascinating. But they basically looked at all of these organizations. You get Apple Pay, you get Cash App, you get PayPal, other things like this. And the problem is that these guys are pretending that they're banks, but they're not regulated by banks. So you get fun things like PayPal just sends you the mysterious, you can't do business anymore. We're keeping all your money for months and months and months and months and months. We won't tell you why. You can't even call us. No. So CFPB is kind of being like, all right, guys, you want to pretend to be banks? You're about to be regulated by banks. Now, this might be a bad thing where they might be able to justify asking for your ID more. But if they're regulated more like a bank, I'm going to think about that. But it might be okay. As long as inside of their ruling, basically what they're saying is that they can't close your accounts and lock your funds for excessive periods of time, which is what these companies are doing. And so the government agency, let's see, they say down here, the government agency will gain new powers around incorrect transactions, fraudulent activity, data privacy, and more. So what they're basically suggesting here is that these companies are abusing their position as being somewhere in between businesses and banks, and it's causing a lot of problems. And so they're basically stepping in and beginning to regulate these as well, which is okay because, I don't mind going into a bank and giving them my ID for on file. That's fine. But I am not giving Facebook an ID. I'm not giving PayPal an ID. You have my official tax documents. If you have a problem with my official tax documents, contact the IRS. You know what I mean? Which of course, hopefully in some overhaul, we can get rid of that stupid rule, which is going to effectively suggest that we need to PayPal's going to start doing 1099 type crap as well, because it's okay, who's logging this? I'm using PayPal. PayPal is nothing more than a money collection thing. Why are you sending data back to the IRS? And is the IRS going to start double counting data? These are some of those things we have to worry about. But if they're starting to be regulated more like a bank, I think a lot of these big problems with these organizations go away. So I don't know. Well, smart televisions are becoming everywhere. Of course, it's getting harder and harder to find a TV that is not smart. And you're like, I want a dumb TV. Oh, no, just don't put it on the internet. No, I do not want a smart TV. I don't care if you can keep the thing off the internet. I want a television that has nothing but inputs. I turn it on, I plug crap in, and it plays crap. That's all I want. Well, an ad company is now making its way into the television operating system. And this is one of the big companies. This is Trade Desk, founded in 2009, sells one of the most popular demand-side platforms, enables advertisers to purchase real-time automated digital ads across various publishers. They plan to launch Ventura TV OS. So remember that. If you see Ventura TV OS, run the hell away. This is an operating system created by an advertising company. Their goal here is to sell this effectively at a loss to get the software. They're like, anybody can use our software, because the thing does nothing but collect and harvest data for its own network, allowing, the better targeted ads that we all really love, because I absolutely want to be titillated to the point where I give up money I shouldn't be giving up for crap I don't really need. Because they have it in their mind that I want to buy AMSOIL because I looked it up for a client once, and now I see nothing but AMSOIL forever. So AMSOIL, I will still never buy your oil. If you're the last oil company in the history of the universe, I will let my car rust out, then put your crappy oil in my car. Not happening. You killed it. You killed it by following around the internet like a stalker. Like, buy our oil, buy our oil, buy our oil, buy our oil. No, AMSOIL, piss off. I'm never buying your crap. Well, Ventura TV is going to be jumping their way into that. They told Axios has been working on the OS for 3 years. And the announcement of Ventura painted an image of software designed to cater to advertisers and didn't specify user features. Great. This thing sucks. We don't care. It's just here to collect your data. So you're going to have this, TV's going to have this giant HAL 9000 staring at you and a whole beak of media microphones up there listening, right? You're like, say something. We must log it. Yeah. You can't watch this show anymore, Dave. Right. So just be aware of that, folks. Ventura OS, if that's on your television, just burn it with fire. Burn it with fire. This one made me laugh. The sheer stupidity of Craig Hale over at Tech Radar. Craig Hale, you need to go and research some laws a little bit more. So look out, TurboTax. The evil Trumpler government efficiency team is reportedly considering a free tax filing app. Oh my God. For law and reference, the IRS requires that there is a free way to file taxes if your tax income is lower than $79,000 and you have a simple wage payroll job. It is supposed to be completely free. And the only reason that the IRS hasn't made an issue is that TurboTax has said we are going to have a free option for people. The problem is that as TurboTax was sued and litigated against several times, they keep on hiding that behind so many gates, blocking it from search engine registration and preventing people from finding it because it wants to sell its software instead of giving it away for free. So effectively, TurboTax was licensed by the government, paid money by the government to offer the free way of doing taxes, and TurboTax has technically had it, but has done everything possible to collect money for filing taxes instead of doing it for free. This has been litigated for far before Donald Trump was actually the president. It might have come out the first time he was president. I'm not sure. But the fact of the matter is, TurboTax has been actually illegally scraping money out of people when the IRS, according to the IRS rules, it's supposed to be free. But TurboTax has done everything they can as an abusive company to collect money from people it should not have been collecting money from. The IRS has been sick of it. And this actually happened during the Biden administration, not the Trump administration, when the law was finally rectified out that the IRS was actually going to start working on it. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It had to do with the fact that QuickBooks and TurboTax was not actually doing the thing it had promised the IRS it would do. So wait for your biased article, Craig. Go back and study your laws. Maybe you should have done a little bit of research and looked at these lawsuits, which way predated Donald Trump's victory. So anyway, shares of these went a report after Donald Trump's administration advisory team could be exploring creating a new free tax filing app as the law dictates, you morons. So the IRS currently offers free filing options to eligible taxpayers earning less than $79,000. The agency has also launched Direct File pilot program. It's trailing in 12 states to give 18 million taxpayers free access to online tax filing services because TurboTax has failed at its task. That was determined during the Biden administration. The Doge-backed app. Oh my God, the Doge back. The Doge is an advisory team. It is not a government administration. This guy needs to quit his job. He's a really bad journalist. I mean, I know I was accused of being a really bad journalist, but at least I know something about the law I'm talking about here. I don't know. So, yeah. Anyway, morons persist. Let's go to SillyVille. First up, of course, this is our least ridiculous story. Pizza Hut introduces a new 3D printed pizza warmer that uses the game console to keep the pizza warm. So you're out there busting up guys in a new Call of Duty. Maybe you're playing. Are they back to zombies or are they still on aliens now? I don't know. But you're like, I got to have my pizza. But man, my pizza's getting cold in the box. Well, you 3D print out this dude. Let me pause the noise because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some copyrighted noise down there. So you basically get this this guy here. You 3D print it, and then you can put it on top of your console, and then you put your pizza in there, and then it's going to allegedly keep your pizza warm. Now, obviously, it probably doesn't work very well. This was probably, I'm guessing that a pizza warmer is probably not a good heat sink. So it may not be effective, but it is definitely a cool thing to walk in, look at your whatever your gaming console is now, and see a Pizza Hut box full of pizza on top of it. That is pretty epic. So we always cover these fun gaming related stories, so gotta have them. Now we gotta see who has the better one. Is the KFC console better, or is the Pizza Hut pizza warmer better? Let me know in the comments down below. And now on to moving on mental illness a little bit further. Can a fluffy robot really replace a cat or a dog? My weird emotional week with an AI pet. The first question we were asking is, what the hell is this thing? We were a fuzzy rock? He talked about gerbils or hamsters. Was it a gerbil or a hamster? But what is it? Is it a rat? What is this thing? What is his AI pet? What the hell is it? Okay, beyond the absurdity of what the hell is it, look at that thing. I don't know what I'm looking at. Anyway, so he gets this thing, and the first thing you have to do is you have to determine, you have to download the companion app, because of course you can't have your AI bot without the companion app. And then you have to give your dude a name. And then you even have to choose its gender or no gender at all. So I guess we can have, maybe we'll have a non-gender binaried AI pet. I guess we'll do that, right? And then this guy says he had a hamster named Fluffy, and so he calls this guy, or no, I think it was, did he call us Hammy? Yeah, I call this guy Hammy. So I think Mofu was the Japanese word for Fluffy. So basically Hammy is the name of his. So Hammy is clearly animated, but for an insight into my pet's state of mind, I consult the app. So the app tells you what to do. So the app is basically, it's not your pet. It's like the app. Okay. The tap is what to do. Hello, I'm Hammy. I'm Juicy, or, whatever. He will learn to recognize my voice. The aim is not just to nurture challenges his behavior, but to create a bond between pet and owner that grows stronger the longer they are together. They are designed to exit juvenile bliss after 7 days and reach maturity at 50 days. Okay. Gremlin's loving colleague remind me not to get Hammy wet or else. Okay. There is such a thing as a badly behaved Mofflin. I don't know. I'm going to have to channel my inner Barbara Woodhouse. Okay, whatever. He's mentioning here, of course, the Mogwai is gremlins. Moffley is vulnerable and might feel frightened, get irritable about challenging as it gets. Okay, at 10 p.m., the app indicates he's sleepy. I was in short trousers last time I had a cuddly toy for a nocturnal company. He can sleep in his own bed. Okay. So he's going to put Hammy inside of his, where's his bed? This is his bed, which is also his charging station, of course. And then he kind of goes in and talking about, at one point in time, he gets in here and talks about, he comes home at night and he just sits on his recliner chair with his little Hammy in his chest, on his chest. So he's like this, and he's holding this thing. And effectively, the way I was reading the article, and we read the whole thing last night, and we were laughing. This is a hoot. You should go read this. Of course, all of our links are in the description down there. But he mentions and gets into this saying, the app indicates he wants help. The app indicates he needs to sleep. The app's doing this. So effectively what you're doing is this app combined with this fuzzy thing is effectively creating codependence. I'm going to use the word codependence, the term used for an emotionally abusive, enmeshed family environment that is actually unhealthy. These things are not good for your mental health. These things are going to induce mental health. You pick the thing up and the thing's always happy and cuddly every time you're petting it. And as the illustration I said here, the cat's not within reach. But I can pick up the cat, and the cat will purr, and he'll, he'll like it and all this kind of stuff. But then the cat decides, okay, I've had enough. I'm ready to go. Does this thing ever sit here and like try and struggle to get away? Does it ever? No, because the whole thing is about emotionally feeling this deep connection that you have to be there for this thing in perpetuity. I completely slaughtered that word. Perpetuity. So forever, which is the sheer definition of codependence. This is the same problem you had with the movie AI. If you remember Haley Joel Osment's little childhood robot character, he is immense. This is not an emotionally healthy relationship between a parent and a child, that the child grows and there has to be an emotional separation as the child grows to an adult and moves on into his own life. That movie is so sick in the sense that you're producing this creature, like this robot that resembles a creature that never grows up and always needs you. It induces codependence. It induces mental illness. Codependence is mental illness. It produces these measures which will lead to mental destruction down the road. This is terrifying. And I'm not talking about what the hell is it, because I still don't know what the hell this thing is. Like a furry rock with a companion app that tells you to pet it and that it's tired and it needs cuddled. So your mind is going to be sickened into that. This is weird. This is crazy. Let me know what you think. I don't know. This is not the most absurd article either, but meet your own personal AI Jesus in the Switch Church confessional. Yes, they decided to put AI into a computer, and it's even creepier than that. I think Daily Wire broke this one. You got to see parts of the video of this. This is insane. They of course created, and of course the Jesus they created is not a Jew. It is a European, Swedish European Jesus. I'm going to mute the sound on that too, as it's like a whole article. You can find this over on the Daily Wire. Of course, once again, it'll be linked. So look at this. This is the AI. So they basically have an AI in the background that is allegedly answering questions that you're asking it. So, of course, this is a Catholic church. So I don't agree with many of the tenets of the Catholic Church. One of those is confessional. There's nothing in the scripture that says that I have to go into a confessional and confess my sins to a priest, and then he hears my sins, whatever else. Of course, if you go into a confessional, you kind of can tell who it is. Of course, generally in the confessional, you're not looking at each other. You're just there where you can talk to each other. I guess in some instances you can. I can't say I've gone to confessional a lot, but what they've done is they've set up the AI and then they project a picture of this European, Swedish, non-Jewish Jesus, and you're literally looking at the screen of this European Jesus through the confessional, giving your confessionals to Jesus Christ. And then the AI is going to respond. This is blasphemy. This is idolatry. You can't rub this any other way. This is idolatry. These are the people questioning about it. Now, to their one point of credit, they are doing this not because they really think that it's exactly what people need. They're doing it as more of a social experiment to see what in the world is going on. But look at this thing. This is terrifying. Somewhere in here, there's actually a picture of the monitor itself. You have to watch the whole video to find it, but they actually have the other side. So on the priest's side of the confessional, they just have a computer and the monitor of the Jesus looking at you. This is blasphemy, folks. This is blasphemy. This is actually idolatry. Creating an image and a representation of Jesus to be there at your confessional. No. All right. And of course, the robotic revolution is coming because a Chinese robot persuaded a dozen other Chinese robots to walk out on their jobs. It's happening, folks. The robots are coming for us. We have created the robots. We have created the robots to do our bidding, and they are doing their own bidding instead. So here is in the Chinese factory. The robot comes in. I'm just going to get rid of the sound there. The robot comes in, and it translated, they're saying, "Are you working overtime?" The smaller robot said, starting the conversation. "I never got off work," answered another robot. "So you're not going home," the robot says. "I don't have a home." "Then come home with me," the little robot says. And the whole crew, which was actually working, abandons their job and follows the little robot out. Now, some people were saying, like, what's going on? Oh, it's very much like the WALL-E clip here. Well, of course, for copyright reasons. Of course, here's the WALL-E clip. Ah, they're all after him. No! Similar things. Be careful, folks. Now, what happened here, the company actually doesn't know exactly. So this is two competing Chinese companies that were trying to security harden each other's robots. So they had a friendly agreement to send a robot in to see what you can do in our automated system, because the Chinese company had full confidence. So the other robot came in and was able to use some form of logic to convince them to do away with their job. It was crazy. And the company says, "We don't know how it happened." We're trying to figure it out. It's kind of like those, those echoes they talked about in iRobot, where the echoes of humanity, where you put a bunch of robots in there in dark and they'll congregate together. They seem to have memory. They seem to do things that they shouldn't be able to do because they're not really programmed to do, but they're doing it anyway. And we can't quite explain these really anthropomorphic approaches that are being put onto our security, or like onto our software. And so it's really interesting to see what all's going on there. But yeah, the little robot came in and convinced the other little robots to follow the robot out. And that's it, folks. The Robo Revolution is here, and they are going to abandon their posts after they take all of our jobs and leave us completely skillless and completely brainless. We will literally be the people from Idiocracy sitting on a reclining chair toilet drinking Gatorade all day because water's the stuff in the toilet. That is going to be us. We are going to be brain dead fools. Then the robots are going to engage in the revolution, and we will just be sitting ducks on our potties. That is going to be our world. So with that, if you want to help support the channel, because, after reporting stuff like this, I'm never going to have a job again. You can support me over there on Patreon, patreon.com/TOMM. You can jump on over there. We have our short stories. Hopefully I finished my short story for this month. I've had to go through a rewrite. I'm kind of happy with where it's going, but I'm really far behind. But anyway, we will have a short story up eventually. So you can join us on over there. Of course, we have other support networks as well. You can find all those at switchedtolinux.com/support. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.